What's up, guys? So once again, we are back into our isometric grid here. Let's get this going. We're going to talk about how we would take something irregular, like an actual line of text. If we didn't want to draw the text out like we did before with all of the different, actual drawings, how could we possibly make the text look like it's fitting on the isometric plane? Now, there are effects that we can use with Adobe Illustrator, but I wanted to show you guys the actual thing, the actual mechanic that's kind of going on whenever you do this. So let's real quick dismiss the grid for now. Actually, no. Before we dismiss the grid, let's draw something real fast. Let's draw like a big block here. I'm going to draw a big square. It's going to take up most of the screen. Again, we're just trying to use our guides here, our little smart guides to line all this up. Okay, we want to make sure this is following the grid. Okay. Make sure all the lines are following the blue guides. Okay. We'll get a little closer here. I'll give it like two squares in terms of its thickness. And we'll just stamp that out. And then once again, we'll draw in all the different shapes here that go on the inside. This is too tall. Okay, and we'll just duplicate these by hitting reflect and copy. Okay, so you might already have one, but if you haven't already, go ahead and get yourself a palette. All right, so I've got my palette right here. I'm gonna just run through and just sample the colors that I need. Okay, and so we can get rid of our grid for now. Okay, so the reason why I have it set up like this is because I want to put text. I want to put like 4 bits of text and then 2 bits of text here, right? So we're gonna put 2 bits of text on the side. Let me just actually keep this hanging out here. I'll use these colors in a second. And let's get our text tool here. So I'll put my text tool here, and I'm just gonna draw a couple things. I'm gonna say isometric right. And then I'm just going to duplicate this. I'll make this big. Let's choose a different font besides Myriad Pro. I'm going to stick with my Century Gothic. Bold. You can choose whatever font you want. And we'll just duplicate this a couple times. Hold down the Alt key and just drag it down. And then once you do that, you can just duplicate it. So we got 2 here. I need 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let me just make sure they're all visible. Okay, so isometric right. I'm going to say isometric left, and then we'll say isometric top. And then what we'll do is isometric top, and we'll just use the compass directions here. So we'll do like northeast, northwest. Oops. Top northwest, and then southeast and southwest. Okay, so let's just start off with isometric right and left. These are going to be the easiest things here. All right, so we want this to be on this side. So we want this to be like kind of going uphill, but we we can't turn it. If we just turn it like this is not going to look right. Okay, it's just not going to look correct. It's not going to be fitting inside. All the lines don't line up true. All the different sort of like planes. So the way we do this is we just right click on it and we just press shear, transform and shear. And we're going to shear this vertically, and we're just going to shear it 30 degrees. Let me just preview this real quick. Oh, negative 30 degrees. So it goes uphill. And then when we place it on here, you can see it fits right in. If I just get real close, it's 30 degrees. See? All right. Let me just shrink this down slightly. Hold on the Shift key when you shrink it down so it fits inside. And we'll just use, say for instance, this color here to belong with it. All right, and so I'll just place this over here. Isometric left is going to be the same thing, right? We're just going to right click on it. We're just going to transform and shear. And in this case, instead of negative 30, we'll do positive 30. So once again, we can't just rotate these. we have to actually use this sort of shear transformation effect, and I'll make it slightly darker so it fits in with everything. All right, so isometric. Okay, so here we go. So top northeast, top northwest. Oops, I got that wrong. And then bottom, or top southeast and top southwest. All right, oops, I got it wrong again. All right, so here we go, southeast, southwest. All right, so let's start off with isometric top, southwest. We want to do two things. We want to shear it, and we also want to rotate it. Let's go transform and shear. And I want to say we're going to shear at 30 degrees at first, and then all we're going to do here is just we're going to rotate it. Oh, wait, no, I got it wrong. All right, here we go. Back that up. All right, so let's once again transform and shear, and we're going to do this negative 30 degrees. And then we're just going to rotate it until it fits in with the isometric plane here, which is about 60 degrees. If you look at the little cursor, you know, so here we go. We're starting off at like 360, and we go all the way to 300. So find 300. All right, there's 300, and we can just going to shrink this down to fit it. And you can see the lines match right there. And we're going to make this this color, but like a little bit lighter. So I'll pull this up a little bit, right, just to make it visibly, oops, yeah, visibly lighter here. Okay, so that's southwest. So once again, we sheared it 30 degrees, and then we rotated it 60 degrees, or in this case, negative 60 degrees. So same thing here. We're gonna shear this, transform and shear, but in this time we're gonna go 30 degrees instead of negative 30 degrees. And again, we're gonna rotate this, but I think we're gonna rotate this backwards. There we go, rotate this backwards. So find it to where it goes all the way, watch the cursor there, until it hits 60 degrees. There we go, 60 degrees. It'll snap in. And then we can just sort of shrink this down. Whoops. And you can see, once again, the letters all line up perfectly with your isometric grid. So we can make this a little bit bigger. All right, and once again, I'll just sample this. All right, so for these things, for these guys up here, we're gonna shear them as well. And instead of shearing them horizontally or vertically, we're going to shear them horizontally. And then when we rotate these guys, I think I did that one wrong. All right, let's shear this one once again. Transform, shear, negative 30 degrees for the northwest side. And then I'm just going to rotate this until it fits in. Here we go. You can see it fits right in there. All right, so let's see here. Once again, I'm going to find, it's like going to be, I think it's going to be like 240, no? 210, it looks like. Yeah, that fits in really good, all right? And then again, we're just going to sample this color. We can shrink this down a little bit more. And then over here, we're just going to, once again, transform, shear, but we'll do the opposite. We'll do 30 degrees instead of negative 30 degrees. And again, we're just going to rotate this until it fits in with this, with it right here. So watch it until it gets to 150, looks like. Yeah, so see, just look at the baseline. It should fit right in. Once again, we can't just rotate these. We have to actually shear them first. All right. All right. Okay. So there we go. All right. So you can kind of look at that, and you can kind of see how the text fits right in. It's more than simply rotating it. It's shearing it and then rotating it. And then in some ways, there's some scale involved as well. So it's not as hard as you might think just to get something to fit in. It just depends on what side it's facing here. Now, obviously, like in this case, we're looking for all the for everything to like look a certain way. Everything's like kind of the baseline is on the on the outside. Obviously, these could be anywhere that you wanted to put them, but in this case, yeah, we're putting them over this way. Okay, so let's go over here to our text tool, and let's just put in our name here. Let's say for Alexa, Isometric 3, and we'll say scale. No, let's say shear and rotate, and put your name next to it. Let's have Mr. Lavello. and we can sort of like put in some notes here where it's like, well, no, we could probably just keep it like this, right? So there's no real reason to like put all that stuff in there. All right, so now we understand kind of how the isometric works, right? It works by basically you're just taking whatever thing you're working with and you're shearing it on one axis 30 degrees or negative 30 degrees, and then you're rotating it, if you're trying to put it on the top, either 60 degrees or negative 60 degrees in some form or fashion, or more so, depending on whatever the case may be. All right, so let's export this as for screens, and let's make sure the width is set to 2000 pixels, and call it ISO 3 Shear. Or you can just put your last name. And, all right, very cool. Make sure it's a JPEG. Did I do that? Was it a JPEG? Oh, I did a PNG. Let's make sure it's a JPEG when we export this. I'll show this one more time. Export for screens. And I'll change this to a JPEG. All right, and you get the idea. Okay, cool. All right, well, I cannot wait to see you guys produce. I will see you guys in class.